If you buy more expensive clothing items or fashion accessories, are you going to get higher quality items? Are the items going to generally be better? Yes and no. Let me explain. Howdy y'all, I hope you guys are all doing well. I hope you guys are safe and I hope you guys are healthy. My name is Josh and I absolutely love clothing and personal style. So if you're into that type of content, feel free to subscribe to me here on YouTube as well as follow me on Instagram at wears_Galdo. As a fan of clothing for quite a while now, I have really been interested in what exactly makes it expensive. There are a lot of factors that go into something like this, but I definitely think that I've kind of like summed it all up, overgeneralized things, and come up with two different characteristics that kind of encourage the price on a certain item. The two aspects that kind of go into the making of these prices are going to be the product itself and the context. Super important. Both of these things, and I'll explain obviously, but I did want to delve into the product first. I would love to think that the more money you spend, the more quality or the better the product is, but simply put, that isn't always the case. Yeah, you do kind of get what you pay for, and there definitely is kind of like a slope to be drawn. There is a difference between really low quality, really cheap clothing, and then as you kind of climb the ladder of pricing, exactly how high do you need to climb to get the best bang for your buck? Because it's really hard to illustrate this just by talking. So let me try and think of a way to, I don't know, maybe I'll just like draw a graph or something. This is hilarious. I'm actually drawing a graph right now. This isn't the most scientifically accurate thing, but it's all just my opinion, I suppose. All right, and presenting my horrifically crude chart of what I believe to be the relationship between price and quality. So on the bottom axis here is going to be price, and over here on the side is going to be quality or potential for quality increase. Down at this part of the curve, you definitely see like the fast fashion brands, so really low price, but typically very low quality, like your H&Ms, your Forever 21, Zara, and stuff like that. As you increase in price, the potential for quality definitely goes up and up and up. But once you hit a certain price, quality can really only go up so much. And so where I want to exist in this kind of chart is going to be in like this section right over here, where I don't spend too much money, but my clothing is definitely high quality in terms of what I need for, or what I need out of that clothing. I realize now that if I were more tech savvy, I could put in an actual like graph for you guys, but for the sake of simplifying this video, there's my graph. Now, I definitely think that the price ranges are, or the scaling for price is very different depending on what piece of clothing that you're buying. But generally speaking, that is kind of like the overall shape of how like the trends of quality and price go. And I think that also is better illustrated if I show you guys some examples. I have two pairs of jeans here. This first one is actually a pair of women's jeans from Target by Levi's. So these are like modern made, they're super baggy wide leg jeans. I tend to wear them all the time because I'm not worried. I only spent about like, I think $65, around $65 for this pair of jeans. Really good solid pair of jeans. They're in the women's section. I don't mind wearing women's clothing. And yeah, black wide leg jeans. Can't complain. Really, like, I would consider $65 for a pair of jeans to be on the cheap end of things. And then in comparison, in direct comparison, I have this pair that you may have seen on the channel before. Rick Owens Geff Cut Denim. 16-ounce selvage. Really just one of my favorite pairs of jeans, but because I spent so much money on it, I don't want to wear them that often. Looking at the Levi's pair, again, for $65, 100% cotton, but this denim is definitely a very like loose weave. It doesn't have a whole lot of structure to it. I mean, being a baggy pant, it is kind of hard to have a lot of structure, but if your material is like thicker, then you definitely can like structure your pant differently. But this is just a regular pair of like washed black wide leg Levi's, and I mean super lightweight denim. So I mean, all in all, pretty solid pair of pants. I can't complain for $65. Now looking at the Rick Owens pair, this pair I think retails for like $900, something crazy like that. So over 10 times the amount that the Levi's pair costs, but there are a lot of little details that if you don't love clothing, it might be missed on you. But this is made up of 100% cotton, Japanese selvage denim, 16-ounce denim, and just the little things about this make me love it so much. First and foremost, let's go for the branded patch. Whereas the Rick Owens one, I think this is like buffalo leather or something. It is super, super thick. I don't know if you can tell, but this thing is hefty. And the denim itself feels equally as hefty. 16 ounces, quite a bit heavier than most. Also 100% cotton, so the makeup of the material itself is the same as the Levi's, but feels entirely different. You could see that completely blacked out selvage ID right there. This pair of denim is kind of crazy. There is one additional like detail that you can see on this pair, and that's going to be, oh my goodness, how do I display this properly? Stemming from like the crotch region, there is like a dart that kind of gives this a little bit more of a unique shape. These definitely have a very, very high rise, almost drop crotch when I wear it. And this pair of Rick Owens jeans just has so much more detail, depth, and is a lot more refined of an idea. I mean, yeah, you're paying for it, but it looks absolutely gorgeous on body. One of my favorite wide leg pairs of jeans. There is also an extra like seam that goes into the back pocket. And in terms of the Levi's pair, it's just a very flimsy feeling pair of pants. Yeah, I don't mind wearing these. Like, these are kind of like my lazy day jeans where I don't care about dressing up at all. And I'm really trying to get out of the mentality of like separating my clothing that I really like from the clothing that I think is just kind of like lazy day. I feel like if I were to change my mentality and just wear the clothing that I really like, I'd get so much more use out of it, thus making my price per wear a whole lot less. If I were to put it on the chart, the Levi's pair would be somewhere like right over here, whereas the Rick Owens pair would be like pretty high up here, like maybe at this peak right over here. So completely different sides of the chart itself. But let me show you other items in a different context. So to bring up another different like category of pieces of clothing, this is a pair of Red Wing boots. Typically, these are like relatively like solid quality boots. They are, typically worn by a lot of people who work very hard working jobs. I'm a nurse, so I don't do that. For that reason, I buy them because I wanted the look of them. But this typically costs around like $300 to $350, if I'm not mistaken. Whereas another boot, this one right here, this Wesco cowboy boot, is going to be a boot that exists in kind of like the $500 to $600 range if you buy them custom. But yeah, this is going to be, I guess, illustrating two items that are a little bit closer on the chart and seeing the improvement in quality. So the Red Wing definitely is built well. They're built like tanks. They can withstand a lot. They definitely have like this different look. They're completely different looks, but the quality on this is pretty good. Not the best I've ever felt in my life, especially not after I felt this. I do think that jump in price from like the $350 range to $500 or $600 range has provided with some crazy improvement in the quality of leather and build quality. These things are tanks. These things are true, like, this'll last a really long time. The leather, I wish I could kind of measure the thickness of the leather itself, but it is substantially thicker than the Red Wing boot. Referring back to the chart, if I were to say Red Wing boots would probably be somewhere right over here on the chart in this realm, whereas the Wesco boots would probably be closer to this little peak over here, because I do think that around that kind of $500 price point for a pair of boots is where you're going to hit that little flat area. Even if you spend more than that $500, it's not going to be that much higher quality after that point. Another boot that I definitely wanted to bring up in comparison to those is going to be this one right here. This one is going to be a Guidi combat boot, square toe, Vibram sole. So this boot is going to retail for about like I think $1,000 to $1,300. So a solid $1,000 more than the Red Wing boot, like double the price of the Wesco boot. So on the chart here, you're looking at like maybe somewhere over here in regard to price, but it really hasn't improved that much in terms of quality. And, you know, obviously these boots are meant for different things. These are not easily comparable in terms of like function. I think this better illustrates the idea that quality does not go that much higher after you start hitting luxury prices. That's not to mention the commercial luxury products that are available really anywhere. If we're looking at the Louis Vuittons, the Gucci's, the like typical brands that you see people who aren't necessarily into fashion but really want something that is more status speaking, they'll go for those types of brands where I don't even think that the quality for the price is there. If we were to look over here on this graph, the price is really high, quality is somewhere down here. Like, when it comes to commercial luxury items, oftentimes you are not paying for the product itself. You end up paying for the context, and that is a wonderful segue into the next aspect that makes things expensive. Now, a lot of people really do love to say, like, oh, I don't care about the brand so long as it looks good, yada, 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 things like that. But in direct opposition to that attitude, brand and context mean a lot, especially when you're deciding what's worth your money. I myself have definitely come to terms with the idea that I'm at least somewhat pretty vain, and I think a lot of people are, and especially when it comes to allocating the money to buy certain items. Like, my own like family has been like, oh, well, why would you spend that much? Well, it's a Louis Vuitton. Well, I mean, that's exactly what I'm talking about here. The context of brand name or designer made goods immediately and sometimes unintentionally imply a degree of belonging to some sort of subculture, stereotype, community, etc. And that in itself can carry a lot of weight and affect how much a piece of clothing costs. Because these brands that make these items know that. They understand the social currency, and if there is higher social currency, they think they can charge more for that item. Louis Vuitton bags being made of mostly coated canvas and maybe just a little bit of very thin leather don't really need to cost the thousands that they do, but they can charge that because people will buy that. Let's talk about a super, super popular brand right now. Chrome Hearts. I've been mentioning Chrome Hearts a lot in my videos as of late, and I'm actually wearing my Chrome Hearts earrings right now. Not to stunt on y'all, but this will illustrate a lot better once I explain it. But Chrome Hearts oftentimes is known for making sterling silver jewelry. Sterling silver jewelry is not that expensive. However, when you add the Chrome Hearts stamp and the Chrome Hearts design, yes, it is a pretty unique design, and I think they look great, but they are the masters at overinflating their prices because of the affiliation with the Chrome Hearts brand. Chrome Hearts is known for being very celebrity, rich people, not exclusionary, but exclusionary in terms of price point because it is the ultimate luxury for maybe not the highest quality in materials. I mean, yeah, they do make very high quality stuff sometimes. When they do their cut and sew stuff, I think it's pretty nice, but like for regular sterling silver jewelry, like a ring, like a cemetery ring, I've seen for like maybe $1,000 is kind of crazy, where it's like it's just a solid sterling silver ring. Many other brands charge a whole lot less, but because it's Chrome Hearts, it is worth a whole lot more. And am I calling myself out for purchasing from Chrome Hearts? I mean, kind of in a way, but really it is about what you decide is worth your money. Let me actually go ahead and bring back the pairs of pants that I was showing earlier. This wide leg pair of Levi's jeans, $65, wonderful deal, looks really good on in my opinion, versus the Rick Owens pair. I'm sorry, they don't look exactly the same, but they do kind of serve the same purpose. Wide leg jeans. And if I were to say I want to go out and feel better, I'm going to wear the Ricks. I'm going to be very, very frank with y'all. There is a certain way that wearing designer goods or higher, more expensive goods makes me feel. And that's just kind of like, I don't know, it's definitely a learned behavior, a learned emotion, but I think it's like foolish to kind of deny that that idea actually exists in a lot of people. So with that Rick Owens pair of jeans, couple high quality with a a name that I do want to affiliate myself with, which is Rick Owens, that whole community and that whole style. All of a sudden, I'm willing to spend. I think I spent like $600 on that pair of Geth jeans. They retailed for like nine or maybe even more, but I paid about six. It made me willing to spend more than 10 times the Levi's pair for something that does a similar job. So that in itself is kind of like, in my mind, kind of wild. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with thinking the way that I do, or being a little bit vain, or, the real, like, what I'm trying to get at in this video. You need to find a sweet spot for what you're comfortable spending while still being satisfied with the products that you're getting. My question to you is, what brand do you think has the best value to quality ratio? I find it really hard to find brands that I'm like completely satisfied with, like with all their products, but there are a couple brands, and this is kind of excluding buying secondhand. This is like really only kind of talking about MSRP or retail price in relation to their items. But yeah, what brands do you guys think are the best quality to retail price ratio? So that's really all I had to say in this video. I am very curious to hear your thoughts, so put them in the comments down below. I appreciate your guys' time. Thank you so much. Happy holidays. I hope you guys get to enjoy them with your families and loved ones, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Later.